I proceed to give the floor to Honorable Adongo. Honorable Adongo,
thank you very much.
You have 15 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, listening to my colleague, I can understand they are very dazed and they are still recovering from the kind of budget they never expected Ghana would ever have. Mr. Speaker, they are wondering how we put together such a budget without going to borrow $3 billion from the international capital market. For them, that type of budget can only be financed with borrowing on the international capital market and even use some of it to celebrate with kinky and fish. So we have come to teach them how to run an economy properly, so to speak. In fact, at some point in time, I was almost going to ask MTN to audit their books whether some of the quick loans have not found their way to these people. Because they were so loan-driven that they didn't know that you could manage an economy from generating internal resources. But, Mr. Speaker, in 2019, the government of Ghana, led by Ken Ofori-Atta, the then finance minister, went to the IMF after he failed to meet the performance criteria and applied for waiver for the non-observance of performance criteria. So if we have those people who have ever asked for waiver for non-compliance with performance criteria, there they are. They did it in 2019. So in 2019, they did not end the program. They ran away from the program by asking the IMF to forgive them because they simply didn't have what it takes to complete the program. That is what they did. But, Mr. Speaker, audited financial data. When did we ever come here to present a budget with audited financial statements? When you come here to submit a budget, you normally will come here in November. I'm saying that you normally will come to this house with your budget in November. The financial year wouldn't have even ended for you to even audit. And you have been doing that for 8 years. And today you are asking that we should have come with audited financial statement before we can declare the deficit that we inherited. What type of logic is this? Where does that happen? I don't know when that started happening. So, Mr. Speaker, our situation, our country has been messed, and we are doing a lot of work to bring this economy back on track. Mr. Speaker, when you inherit an economy that is a galamsey economy, you inherit an economy that has borrowed up to the roof and declared bankruptcy. Mr. Speaker, you need to do a lot of heavy lifting in order to put the economy back on track. You don't generate growth when you are doing heavy lifting. You do that when you have reset the economy, then the economy will be on the path to growth. So wait until the following year, you will see when the resetting starts working, that the economy would overperform. In any case, when they believed in the economy, they budgeted for growth of 3.2%. That was the budget you brought here. So why are you speaking to outturns? Wait till the outturns come and you will notice that we may likely achieve a target of more than 4%. We are being cautious because we understand the amount of heavy lifting that we need to do. Mr. Speaker, they are surprised that we are running an economy where we understand that as social democrats, you don't take money from the poor to take care of the rich. So when they were taking money from the poor, Ghana now has a president which is very empathic, a humane president who says the poor has been shouldering the development of our country, so I'm going to give you respite. So here, today, you will find that we are abolishing all those taxes that you impose on the poor. E-levy is no more. We are abolishing e-levy. And tomorrow, he will be with me to move the processes towards abolishing that tax so that His Excellency can sign it into an act and repeal it. Mr. Speaker, we have a country where the government of the day was looking in all places for taxes. Every least excuse, they will impose a tax. They said there is Bola sitting at Nima, sanitation tax. They said there's a disease called COVID-19 tax. The people of Ghana are very lucky. By now, we have been hearing deportation from the United States levy in our country. The war of tariffs, the tariff war, we have been hearing tariff levy because our economy is suffering from Donald Trump. But here, Ghanaians don't even know that there's a tariff war. Ghanaians don't even know that Ghanaians are being deported because we will not ask them to pay levies for the people that are being deported. And this is how we are going to run this economy and teach you so that next time in 2058, if you ever happen to come back here, you will not be imposing taxes on the poor. Mr. Speaker, I heard somebody mention gold for oil. Please, and please, this is the last time you should even attempt to talk about gold for oil. I'm surprised that as a government, we decided to carry the risk of everybody onto the Bank of Ghana. So the Bank of Ghana was losing money from price fluctuation in the purchase and sale of gold. Then when we gave it to BDCs and BOST, the leakages and the losses on fuel, Bank of Ghana was bearing it. Exchange losses, Bank of Ghana was bearing it. The net effect is that our net worth at the Bank of Ghana is now 73 billion Ghana cedis. That is what we are seeking to stop. That is what we are seeking to make the people of Ghana know how the best people who manage economies operate. You can't take a bank with stated capital of 10 million and generate a deficit of 73 billion and still counting. And you are asking us to continue that obnoxious policy which created this type of situation. We will not do that. We will find a better way to support the system and make sure that the city is truly stable. And you will see how we are going to do that. And we will show you how to do it. Mr. Speaker, I heard him talk about the budget allocations for education. We were in this country when a government refused to provide textbooks, but rather teaching our children PASCO. You go and buy past questions for our children. So chew, pass, and forget. Our children were learning past questions here. The minister is bringing interventions that will bring critical learning and critical training of the brains of our children. We are providing enough textbooks and not past questions. And you should be praising us for that. The people who capped the GET fund are today asking the minister who is uncapping it how much money he will make from the uncapping. You are not even ashamed. Who capped it? When you were having this red, gold, green in our secondary schools, and our children were lying and sleeping everywhere on the corridors, you were rather centralizing GET fund money and sending it to the government so you could construct a hole just behind here called the National Cathedral. You were taking the money from GET fund just so the president can fly a private jet. And we are making sure that those monies are spent properly, and you are questioning that also. But Mr. Speaker, we live in a country where a minister of agric that was supposed to be growing rice was importing polished rice. Where is my good friend? When he launched the Planting for Food and Job 2, he rather was importing polished rice from China. What type of ministry is that? You are here complaining that we have not made enough allocation when you were making allocation to import polished rice. I mean, I have never seen a group of people who are never ashamed of themselves. That a Minister of Agriculture was now at the forefront of importing and distributing rice at Makwala. Please, we are resetting this country away from importing rice to growing and producing rice. Don't you like that? Mr. Speaker, I heard my good friend talk about Nkukon Kitinkete. We are not only doing Nkukon Kitinkete, we are also going to do Nam Kitinkete. We want to process the chicken so that we will reduce the import bill of $300 million that we are using to import chicken. And you should be praising the president for such a wonderful policy. Mr. Speaker, this budget is a budget for the poor and the downtrodden. It is a budget that is making the people with disability laugh because for the first time, they can have access to tertiary education whether they have the funding or not. Thanks to my big brother, the Minister for Education, that will happen in our land. This is a budget that makes sure that even if you don't have the money, the state will help you pay for your first school fees. At the end of the day, this is not the type of budget that put our children into NAPCO and rob them of their allowances. This is not the kind of budget where the government didn't have money, but was busy breeding ghosts and paying them. And failing to pay national service personnel, but they had money to pay ghosts. This is not a type of budget. This is a human-centered budget where the ghosts are back. Some are sitting at the back there. When you are going, look over, there's a cemetery there. They are back in the cemetery. If you pass through Udomi, you see some of them that they are crying that we have taken away the money they were chopping at the NSS. This is not the type of budget that we are here to joke with. But Mr. Speaker, we have a government which for several years prioritized sloganerism and not develop our country. We are bringing a big push. We have made an initial allocation and you are complaining. But when you said the year of roads, what we saw was that your own vehicles were getting stuck in your campaign travels. We are not going to do year of roads. We are going to do proper roads. And you see every Friday, this gentleman will give you an update on what we are doing to fix our roads. But Mr. Speaker, apart from that, we were in this country when we heard that there was a minister for railway development, a minister for aviation, a minister for port, and a minister for transport. Now we have almighty one man. He doesn't have macho hands, but he has this one. He is the only man doing aviation, doing railway, doing port services. The work that 5 of you were doing, only one man sitting here is doing them. And you are not clapping for him. Mr. Speaker, when you see that man, you have to clap for him.
Honorable member, you have 1 more minute.
Thank you very much. I was so engrossed, I didn't know Speaker has come. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.